They said the ocean itself would tremble before its bow. These words have turned countless heads along the North Shore, sparking excitement, curiosity, and even apprehension about the newest marvel preparing to carve its path across Canadian waters. So, what exactly is causing all the commotion? And why are local residents scanning the horizon in anticipation? Today, we delve headfirst into the story of a groundbreaking vessel that promises to change the very fabric of maritime exploration. In this deep dive, we look at the challenges it faces, the controversies swirling around its potential impact, and the hopes of those who believe it will usher in a bold new era of ocean sciences. Will it become an emblem of Canadian ingenuity, or is there an undercurrent of obstacles waiting to pull it beneath the waves? Stay with us until the end and discover the questions no one else dares to ask. We begin our journey with the unveiling of the Canadian Coast Guard's newest offshore oceanographic science vessel, known in official records as the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk. It might sound like a simple name for a complex piece of maritime engineering, but the significance of this vessel is immeasurable. From the moment that news first broke, rumors have circulated about its advanced capabilities, ranging from specialized oceanographic survey instruments to sophisticated onboard laboratories. Critics of the initiative wonder if this is an overblown attempt to showcase modern technology wrapped in flashy public relations. Supporters, however, champion it as a vital next step in protecting marine habitats, studying climate change, and further strengthening Canada's ability to respond to emergencies at sea. In this script, we will navigate all these viewpoints, grappling with each point of fascination and contention to provide you with a panoramic look at the saga unfolding on the Pacific coastline. Here is the heart of our tale: the vessel's sea trials, a series of critical tests designed to see if it can handle the unpredictable demands of open waters. Some might assume that sea trials are a routine checkbox, but ask any seasoned shipbuilder and they will tell you that these trials can make or break a vessel's reputation before it even sees active service. Over countless hours, every system on board, mechanical operations, electrical networks, hydraulic mechanisms, and advanced research equipment must prove it is ready for the extraordinary rigors awaiting offshore. Imagine being one of the engineers tasked with running each test, aware that even a single oversight could compromise the performance of this multi-ton giant. Then add the pressure of public scrutiny, with local residents and oceanic researchers eagerly watching, and you get a sense of the tension swirling beneath the excitement. Crafted at the Seaspan Vancouver shipyards, the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk already wears many crowns in the eyes of maritime enthusiasts. From its inception, its design has been hailed as a consequential leap in modern shipbuilding, offering an advanced platform for real-time scientific data collection and a sturdy foundation for search and rescue missions. The events leading up to its current state were hardly smooth sailing, as each phase of construction had to account for countless engineering complexities, supply chain unpredictabilities, and funding challenges. Yet, the vessel has now reached a pivotal moment, with all eyes on the horizon to see whether it can fulfill the promises laid out in its visionary blueprint. Standing at roughly 88 meters in length and roughly 17.6 meters in width, it commands attention, particularly when you picture it launching off the slipway and forging a path through Pacific swells. But does size alone define greatness, or does real excellence emerge from the synergy of crew expertise, advanced technology, and a guiding mission? We cannot explore the saga of this new offshore oceanographic science vessel without highlighting the significance of the word science in its job title. The Canadian Coast Guard is no stranger to multi-purpose vessels. After all, its fleets have historically handled every imaginable seaborne responsibility, from icebreaking in the Northern Territories to monitoring fishing zones on the Atlantic. However, this vessel stands out for its specialized focus on oceanic research. It is intended to serve as Fisheries and Oceans Canada's primary scientific platform, enabling around 60 personnel, ranging from marine biologists and geologists to IT experts and oceanographers, to collaboratively probe the mysteries of the deep. They will sample water chemistry, track marine life migrations, evaluate the health of coral structures, and examine nutrient cycles, all while crossing potentially treacherous waters. By studying ocean currents, temperature gradients, and species distribution, experts hope to glean invaluable data relevant to climate change, sustainable fishing practices, and biodiversity conservation. For anyone still wondering why this vessel has garnered such intense public and professional curiosity, this commitment to active research and data-driven exploration stands as a beacon of innovation. Lest we forget, though, the ship is not merely a floating laboratory. The Canadian Coast Guard demands that its vessels remain ready for emergencies at a moment's notice. Thus, the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk is equipped for search and rescue operations with advanced navigational aids and communication systems designed to locate lost or endangered vessels swiftly. That multiplicity of purpose is no small feat, especially when you consider the ramifications of even the slightest mechanical imperfection in an engine or glitch in an electrical system during an actual crisis. This balancing act, creating a vessel that can serve as a frontline responder while simultaneously accommodating advanced scientific instruments, forms a major subplot in our story. It also creates suspense. Will the demands of multi-role functionality generate friction or operational difficulties down the line? Or will the synergy among the vessel's many facets prove that it is indeed possible to merge research, conservation, and rescue missions into a single robust platform? Engineers, scientists, environmentalists, and everyday citizens have closely followed the meticulous process of building and outfitting the vessel at the Seaspan Vancouver shipyards. The elaborate interplay of designing an ultra-modern hull, installing specialized compartments for habitat management tools, and integrating top-tier systems for fire safety, hydraulics, and communications has kept the shipyard's workforce fully engaged, even throughout disruptions in global supply chains, which have introduced unexpected wrinkles into the schedule. According to those involved, the initial launch took place in August of the 2024 year, an accomplishment that simultaneously felt triumphant, yet served as a sobering reminder of how much still needed to be done for final completion. Now, as the vessel embarks on its sea trials, the atmosphere is thick with hope and determination. Each success in these tests validates the countless hours of research, labor, and problem-solving undertaken by the men and women responsible for turning conceptual designs into a tangible piece of maritime engineering. Each potential issue uncovered is also an opportunity for improvement, though the team is undoubtedly wary of discovering any major defect at this crucial stage. That sense of urgency is complicated by a fervent desire to see the vessel in action, especially along the resource-rich coasts of Canada. Fisheries, local communities, and environmental organizations are impatient to see how this new scientific asset can mitigate pressing challenges, such as declining fish populations, the escalation of oceanic pollution, and the alarming pace of coastline erosion. Some critics wonder if the ship will focus too heavily on certain research agendas at the expense of more immediate threats to marine life. Proponents argue that a data-oriented approach with deeper analyses of water properties and marine biology is the best long-term strategy for safeguarding biodiversity and ensuring the health of Canada's oceans. Meanwhile, local fishers remain keenly interested in the real-world applications. Will the arrival of this vessel improve fish stock management? Will we see more robust enforcement of sustainable catch limits? At a time when debates about climate policy and the economy fill the headlines, the success or failure of such a high-profile vessel could resonate well beyond the confines of the maritime sector. Watching a vessel that you have built go off into the sea is one of the proudest moments during a shipbuilder's career, remarked one senior official from Seaspan, capturing the emotional weight behind these final moments before the ship transitions from a yard-based project to an active seafaring machine. That journey is not restricted to engineers and architects alone. Public officials, including the Minister of Government Transformation, Public Works and Procurement, have underscored the vessel's role in fortifying Canada's presence on global waters, reinforcing national commitments to scientific innovation, and displaying a steadfast dedication to oceanic stewardship. Indeed, the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk is intended to serve as a symbol of progress, of environmental responsibility, and of refined skill in maritime engineering. Those who have labored over its every rivet want to witness the fruit of their efforts yield tangible advancements in knowledge and crisis aversion capabilities. Meanwhile, environmental advocates see in it a chance to monitor fragile ecosystems in real time, capturing data that might catalyze policy changes and reinvigorate the push for reduced emissions and stricter environmental regulations. If you find such high-stakes exploration thrilling, why not show your support? Go ahead and like this video if the possibility of a more sustainable future resonates with you. That single gesture of support goes a long way to keep these critical stories circulating and ensures we can continue highlighting the incredible feats of maritime engineering unfolding in our world. But let us not forget that greatness also invites scrutiny. The vessel is scheduled for delivery by the end of the summer, after which it is set to make a journey across Canada to the Bedford Institute of Oceanography in Halifax, a location chosen for its reputation as a leading research hub and strategic vantage point for studies in the Atlantic. Yet, with every plan of action comes the question, can a ship designed and tested along the Pacific adapt quickly to the distinct conditions of Atlantic seaboards, which bring entirely different wave patterns, tidal systems, and weather phenomena? Enthusiasts may argue that the advanced adaptability engineered into the vessel's systems will handle any maritime environment, while skeptics remain cautious. After all, the Atlantic can be unforgiving, with powerful winds and swirling currents that test even the most stalwart of ships. The ship's crew will need to quickly familiarize themselves with those conditions, ensuring that once they arrive in Halifax, they are armed with not merely advanced hardware, but also comprehensive knowledge of local ocean dynamics. That journey from one coast to another offers a metaphorical parallel to the broad aspirations of the vessel's creators, bridging scientific inquiry with practical applications, uniting advanced technology with centuries-old maritime know-how, and blending the hopes of local communities with the imperatives of national interests. Critics have warned that grandiose statements might overshadow the everyday realities of operating a ship of this magnitude in harsh waters. Supporters, in turn, counter that such skepticism overlooks the decades of collective experience that have led to the blueprint of the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk. Now that the vessel is on the cusp of sea trials, the question of readiness stands at the forefront. Is it truly prepared for the orchestrated chaos of ocean storms and rescue calls, or will the demands of unpredicted crises overshadow its capabilities? As you may have noticed, the drama is not purely technical. Political figures have also stepped into the limelight to offer their perspectives. Joel Lightbound, in his capacity as the minister overseeing government transformation, public works, and procurement, has described the vessel's upcoming missions as world-class capabilities for the Coast Guard's scientific research and missions for decades to come, praising it as a testament to Canada's resilience and forward-thinking approach. Meanwhile, the Minister of Fisheries, Joanne Thompson, has called this milestone an important chapter that emphasizes Canada's dedication to ocean research and environmental protection. Such affirmations bolster the standing of the project, yet they also raise expectations to an almost dizzying height. The Canadian public, along with international observers, will likely be monitoring the vessel once it begins collecting data, responding to emergencies, and circumnavigating the myriad obstacles that stand between theoretical planning and real-world implementation. Every glitch or success will either validate the time, money, and labor poured into this undertaking, or raise urgent questions about whether or not we have approached marine stewardship in the most efficacious manner. In the midst of this swirling ocean of intrigue, we might pause to consider the psychological effect on those working tirelessly behind each weld and each cable installation. Imagine the day-to-day tension your typical electrician or engineer must handle when the success of an entire multi-million-dollar, written in words to avoid numeric digits, project might hinge on the reliability of a single sensor or circuit panel. Every swirl of the welder's torch is also an attempt to future-proof a vessel that is prophesied to remain in service for decades. Some might find it reminiscent of building a cathedral in earlier centuries, a monolithic undertaking guided by faith in the ultimate outcome. The difference here is that the process is open to scrutiny by media outlets, environmental NGOs, fishing communities, and local residents. Each group has its own interests and concerns, adding more layers of complexity to an already intricate web. For the team members, though, the payoff is in witnessing their creation pass its sea trials, set sail free of major flaws, and eventually prove its worth in both scientific exploration and emergency action. Before we continue unraveling the intricacies of this truly epic maritime venture, here comes another friendly nudge. If you are fascinated by behind-the-scenes peeks into ambitious projects like this one, consider subscribing to our channel so you never miss an update. We are committed to following through on this story, bringing you the drama, the triumphs, and the occasional missteps, if they occur. Your subscription helps us continue diving into stories that often get swept away in the torrent of everyday headlines. Returning to the narrative, perhaps the most poignant question is how future generations will remember the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk. Over the next few years, experts anticipate it will play a key role in refining our knowledge of ocean habitats, unraveling the mysteries behind tectonic shifts beneath the ocean floor, and highlighting the impact of shifting temperature gradients on nutrient-rich waters. This type of data is not merely academic. It may shape how governments worldwide approach maritime policy, develop conservation strategies, and even plan harbors or shipping routes. Should the vessel meet or exceed expectations, it could set a precedent for similar initiatives in other nations, thereby elevating Canada's maritime reputation to new heights. If, however, the vessel is plagued by unforeseen complications, ranging from mechanical breakdowns to data interpretation errors, such shortfalls may provide fodder for those who argue that overarching maritime expansions and research investments are out of touch with local communities' needs. This dual possibility of success or shortfall underscores the urgent reality that real progress is rarely linear. The promise of breakthroughs in understanding ocean acidification or coping with severe storms might run headlong into mechanical frustrations, limited budgets, or bureaucratic entanglements. As a result, the sea trials are more than just a technical requirement. They represent the crucible in which hopes and concerns clash. Placing an advanced vessel on the swells of the ocean is akin to releasing an athlete onto the field after a year of solitary training. Everything from training regimens to unforeseen injuries might influence performance. Those who have followed the creation of this vessel hope that the rigorous approach to design will pay off. But a healthy dose of apprehension is only natural when so much hinges on success. Still, a wave of optimism appears to dominate the atmosphere in the Vancouver area, where onlookers can occasionally glimpse the imposing shape of the vessel out on the water, tested by bursts of speed and abrupt turns, or examined under the restless skies that sometimes blanket the Pacific Northwest in a haze of rain. Overhead, seagulls seem oblivious to the tension below, while reporters watch from a safe distance, deciphering the swirl of announcements, test schedules, and official statements. In that sense, part of the allure and the mystery of ocean exploration remains intact. The sea, vast and often inscrutable, challenges even the mightiest vessels, compelling them to prove their mettle against the currents, the storms, and the hidden hazards that lurk beneath the surface. For each successful system check and each data reading gleaned from sonar or oceanographic sensors, a fresh round of excitement and relief pulses through onlookers, fueling the sense that this is not just a mechanical object, but a conduit to deeper understanding. Of course, the story is far from over once the vessel completes its sea trials and sets sail for Halifax. There, nestled within the scientific epicenter that is the Bedford Institute of Oceanography, the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk will join a bustling community of researchers and supporting institutions already engaged in a wide scope of ocean-based inquiries. Collaborative projects with academic institutions, local or international, may arise, forging fresh alliances that extend the vessel's impact across geopolitical boundaries. Additional responsibilities could include fostering alliances with indigenous communities in coastal regions, collaborating on sustainable fishing techniques, and providing real-time data that helps forecast environmental changes. All of these expansions await once the vessel transitions to a fully commissioned operational state. The gravity of these future opportunities underscores the significance of the present moment. Observers realize that a single setback during the testing stage could delay these dreams, or, in the worst-case scenario, cast doubt on the feasibility of certain specialized missions. Despite these looming uncertainties, the narrative that is emerging remains resolutely hopeful. By forging new routes in maritime technology, the Canadian Coast Guard is, in effect, signaling its recognition that a new chapter has dawned. Oceans around the globe are evolving at an astonishing pace, influenced by climate shifts and expanding human activity that places additional burdens on marine ecosystems. If research does not keep pace with reality, the consequences could be devastating. This perspective affirms that the mission of the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk extends beyond analyzing fish populations or refining hydrological instruments. It touches on the question of whether humankind can adapt rapidly enough to the changes swirling beneath the waves. In that respect, the vessel is a well-timed lifeline, throwing us a chance to gather the crucial data we need to inform sustainable practices. The fact that it might also assist in saving lives during search and rescue operations only amplifies its significance. For the men and women who have witnessed the vessel's development from drawings to actual hull, each day of sea trials feels like an unveiling, as if each wave parted reveals a new dimension of what is possible. Their dedication, their sleepless nights, and their passion have left an imprint upon the ship's corridors, from the engine rooms to the research labs. They hope that history will look on this moment and see not just steel and rivets, but the spirit of a generation that refused to settle for stagnant waters, that energized itself around the promise of exploration, and that stood poised at the threshold of deeper understanding. For the critics, every new wave is also a wave of caution. Nothing is guaranteed, and each test must be scrutinized lest we find ourselves building empty monuments to vanity. That kind of tension, wherein optimism and skepticism wrestle, is sometimes the best fuel for progress. And so, we end our journey, for now, on a note of cautious wonder. The stage is set, the actors in place, and the next acts promise their fair share of revelations, hurdles, and, one hopes, triumphs. Only time will tell if the vessel, once it sets out on the open sea, can validate the impressive claims that precede it. But for those who keep a keen eye on the horizon, the promise of better science, stronger emergency response, and a more profound respect for the ocean underscores why this story matters. It illuminates how every rivet locked into the hull stands for a commitment to the world's grandest frontier, the sea, and how human ingenuity might just be able to navigate its unknown depths. Thank you for sailing with us through the captivating tale of the Canadian Coast Guard ship Naalak Nappaoluk. Keep our seas in your thoughts and stay vigilant for the next chapter of this vessel's life. Our waters are boundless, but the stories they cradle connect us all in the shared quest for knowledge, security, and sustainability.